What is up, everyone? Today on Seth Leroy Hustle Adventures Truck Talk, I wanted to talk about so many variables in this industry when you're starting your cargo van business. And let's get right into it. That's why, like I've said in videos, the first thing I say is where are you from and what are you willing to do? What is your goal? You know, because there's so many variables about where you're located, what you're trying to do. When you're bidding, like if it's an overnight run, you know more. If it's heavier, more. If it's going to a bad location, more, because then I'll total miles it to where, like I say, like, dude, I gotta get out of there. Like, I'm not gonna just. That's why there's so many variables in, you know, the market of gas right now. You know, if you lease or own, there's so many variables when getting into this industry that the list is endless, but I'm going to try to talk about as many variables as I can. Now, see, when I'm talking about all of these topics, these are just from my experience in the 8 months, and that's all I can give. Now, and I think I get a little bit more information because I've helped a lot of people start their businesses. Now, and that's where I get a lot of my information. Now, there's people who've started businesses all around the country who talk to me, and the variables of insurance costs, the variables in gas costs, like I got a buddy out in Cali, and his insurance is super high. People in Detroit's insurance is super high. There's some states that are better with insurance. But that's what I mean, like, so with the variables, when you're looking into starting this or doing this, you got to look into that. Like, I checked on with my insurance that I've went through with my regular personal vehicles forever. I checked with him first before I committed to this. And, like, that's what I mean. Like, you have so many variables, and where you're located. You know, look at the market. Like, you know, ask around. I mean, I'm a YouTuber who will tell you everything I know about anything. I'll tell you what I know about that market. And I've learned from, you know, helping a lot of people, and they'll tell me how their market is. So that's what I mean by variables. There's so many variables. It's insane, really. Like, I mean, let's even talk about the variables of what's going on in the country. I don't get into too much of that on my channel, obviously, but gas prices, you know, stock market, everything going like bad in the worst way. And then you got brokers right now and customers who don't want to pay a lot. So it's like a double-edged sword right now. That is a variable nobody saw coming. And when you're a business owner, it is different. You got the freedom. I love the freedom. But you also have those external factors that can affect you, those variables of just like, wait, hold on, what's going on with the freight industry? Of course, it was going so good to where in 3 days we'd make $1,200. Now we're scraping by to make, you know, but I do it different. I always say that in my videos, because if you really run it like where you're just going all over, but you still got those variables, and you got to be smart where you go, what locations, how you bid. But I'm just saying you can make more money, because I did that at first. I went out like 14 days, 12 days, and I made more of a profit. But I do this now where I'm more secular to the Midwest. But I do like going to Nashville, and I will go to Atlanta. Like, I will go places. It all depends. Like, I went to Baltimore a couple weeks back, but that's what I'm saying. It's all variables. Like, if it's a really high bid, yeah, sure, I'll go there. But for the most part, it's just, that's what I mean by variables. There's so many. And then when I went to Baltimore, I got out the next day to one in Minnesota. It was just crazy. I load right back to Minnesota. And the variables of when you go to a location, you never know. Sometimes there could be not a lot of vans. Sometimes there could be crazy loads. Sometimes there could be barely any loads. Like, but then there's the really good places, like for me at least, Chicago, Michigan, Minnesota, Indiana, I really like. These places are always, to me, efficient. Nashville, for me, is always efficient, too. Now, for the variables that are very apparent, like if you're going to lease or own, the variable of gas prices right now, it's apparent. The variables of what state you live in, are you by a city, like the apparent ones. But the ones that you should look into is your insurance in your state, how it's like, you know, stuff like that. So I'm just saying, really look into the variables before you start. And I learned more of the variables too when I started doing it. That's when you're going to really learn bidding and variables. But that's it for this one. Just, dude, there's so many variables. It's insane. And I know there's variables in other businesses, but I'm just saying of my experience in this. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. I just appreciate you watching. I hope you got something out of this video. And oh yeah, keep hustling.